Good evening, everyone. My name is Ching-Pei Hugh, and I'm the Assistant Superintendent here in Belmont-Redwood Shore School District. We are really excited to have you all joining us tonight to hear about our wonderful middle school programs. We are joined tonight online with panelists that you can see. They are our middle school principals. They're going to introduce themselves as they go, but I just want to point out who we have. In my upper left corner, I have Gloria Higgins, who is the principal at Sandpiper. In my left second row down, I have Ryan Hanson-Vera, who is the principal at Nesbitt. Right next to Ryan, we have Sabrina Adler, principal at Ralston Middle. And joining her are Patrick Wilson in the bottom left, who is assistant principal at Ralston, and also Kelly Jorgensen, our second assistant principal at Ralston. We also have board of trustee members joining us virtually. They're not on screen, but they are here. So we want to shout out a hello to them and say thank you for supporting all of our schools and all that you do. We have a lot to share with you, and I am not the main piece, so we're just going to move right on. You are going to hear about the various programs at Nesbitt, Ralston, and Sandpiper. Jerome, next slide, please. Perfect. I think the one takeaway we want you all to walk away with tonight is, regardless of which school you choose, you are going to find a great program. There are some different personalities about each individual school, but we all offer an excellent standards-based academic program. We all have extracurricular options. We all provide social emotional support and development, and there's a positive school climate and connection at each one of the schools. We do it in a different way because when you have a school of 600 or 800 or 1200, we do things a little bit differently, but we have a wonderful team who's going to speak to you about their programs tonight. So take it away, guys.
Hey everybody, I am Ryan Hanson-Vera. I am the proud principal of Nesbitt School, and I can't wait to talk to you tonight about Nesbitt School International Baccalaureate Middle Years Program. We are officially a candidacy school. At Nesbitt, there are some really important people that I want to make sure that you know. We have an assistant principal. Her name is Christina Spicker. She is wonderful. We have an amazing school counselor, Mr. Paul Lucic. And then our front office staff, Linda, Susan, Elena, and Luna, are like your phone a friend. So if you are lucky enough to join us at Nesbitt, you have a great crew of people that are your support system here.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Before we move on, I forgot one very important piece. This is a webinar, so we are not going to be answering questions live. However, there is a Q&A where you can type in all of your questions. We will be downloading them all, compiling them so that we don't have, if there's the same question asked 10 times, we'll give you the answer, and we'll put together an FAQ with all of the questions and answers after the webinar. So please make sure if you have a question, feel free to drop it into the Q&A. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Ching-Pei. Next slide, Jerome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sabrina Adler. I'm the principal at Ralston Middle School, and I'm joined by Patrick and Kelly, my assistant principals tonight. We are in our third year together. We all came at the same time, and 3 years going strong. At our school, because it is a larger school of about 1,136 this year, there is a counselor for each grade level, and an admin and counselor pair together and loop with the students all the way through to make it seem like a smaller, more nurturing environment. So this year we've got our 6th grade counselor, Miss Gedney, and she'll move up to 7th grade. Miss Kafka, who's in 7th grade, will move up to 8th grade, and Mr. Stark is in 8th grade, so he starts back over again with 6th grade. In our office, we've got Claudia, Audrey, and Terry, who support our students, our families, and our staff.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I am very excited to share with you the program we have at Sandpiper School. I'm Gloria Higgins. I am the very proud principal of Sandpiper School. And who you see there in that beautiful photo is most of our middle school team. So you see our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teachers, our assistant principal, our PE teacher, some of our learning specialists. We do have Miss Scala, Stephanie Scala, who is our assistant principal. Anisha Ramani is our counselor here at Sandpiper, and 2 wonderful women in our front office, Carmen Rogers and Leslie McGuire, who have all the answers you need for anything kind of logistical about registration or other kinds of paperwork that you might need to get done. They're very friendly and happy to help. You can go on to the next slide. I also have the pleasure of talking to you about curriculum and instruction for all three programs tonight. And here you see some photos of that in action. Students get to do a lot of collaboration and engaging hands-on work in all of our programs. Go on to the next slide, please, Jerome. All of our schools, as Ms. Hughes said, are standards-based, and we have curriculum that are aligned to those standards. In English language arts, Nesbitt and Sandpiper both use Readers and Writers Workshop. At Ralston, the team uses Study Sync in their ELA program. For math, all three of our sites are able to support students right all the way through 6th grade Common Core math, all the way through algebra in 8th grade, algebra 1 in 8th grade. And we use CMP3 and Desmos at all sites for our math curriculum. History curriculum is the Teachers Curriculum Institute, a very hands-on and experiential history program. It's fantastic. Science, we use STEM Scopes, another really great hands-on program. And this year, we are in our first year of using Wayfinder as our social emotional learning curriculum. That's a curriculum that came out of the D School at Stanford. And so far, all the reports from teachers and students are excellent. They really enjoy using that program. You can go on to the next slide.
So physical education is also a requirement at all three of our middle schools, and I'm going to share a little bit about how Nesbitt gets PE done. So Nesbitt PE takes place 7th period, 4 days a week. Our PE is led by coaches and our middle school teacher team, and our PE classes are a mix of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, giving kids a really good opportunity to work together. And we make sure that we are mixing up those groupings. So every 5 to 6 weeks, our PE groups shift and change.
At Ralston, you can go back for a second. Thank you. At Ralston, our PE is one of our regular classes. All students have 7 classes, and one of their classes is PE. They will have PE 4 days a week. All of our classes, they have 4 days a week. We'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like when we get to the schedule. Our students dress out in uniforms. We have 5 credentialed PE teachers, and typically we are doing a new unit every 6 or so weeks. Could be traditional ones to even right now we're doing dancing. This year it's multicultural dancing and dancing across the world. Last year it was dancing through the decades, so it changes every year, but a lot of fun and engaging units and fitness.
And at Sandpiper, we are very lucky to have a credentialed PE coach who supports our middle school team. He has both his Gen Ed credential and his APE credential for adaptive PE. We do have a double block schedule, so our students have PE twice a week for 110 minutes each week. Our PE class changes every trimester in terms of who's in the class, and that kind of goes hand in hand with the elective that they are in. In his curriculum, in our PE curriculum, the focus is on fitness, nutrition. There are some select health topics like anti-smoking curriculum. We also do a lot of sports and a lot of goal setting in our middle school PE curriculum. You can go on to the next one.
So homeroom is also something that is part of our program at all 3 middle schools. We each have our own little flavor on how homeroom works, so I'll take the lead here and share what we do at Nesbitt School. So at Nesbitt, homeroom takes place every single Wednesday as part of our bell schedule, which we'll get to a little bit later. Homeroom is really an extension of some school-wide practices that we have called morning gathering and community circle. A big part of our community practice at Nesbitt, as being a kindergarten through 8th grade site, we want to make sure that our middle schoolers know that when they arrive to school, they are setting a tone and example for the younger students on campus. And that for those of them that have grown with us through our program, understanding that their core values of the school keep the heart of it healthy and that they are model citizens as part of our school's program. So that's a really big part of what we instill in them during homeroom. We also take the time to review our social emotional learning curriculum. This is a really big time where we get just middle school focused announcements. They work on their spirit days and their fun activities that make part of their middle school experience unique and personalized. They also get great push-in support and check-in opportunities with our school counselor during homeroom time. there's a big focus on grade review and like kind of that progress monitoring, teaching them how to be responsible middle schoolers, how to navigate using their one-to-one device, track their grades on Illuminate, how to write emails and communicate with other adults on campus, and just how to be a more mature and self-sufficient student. And then lastly, 8th grade really focuses on and uses the homeroom block as a time to talk about high school preparation.
At Ralston, we start our day every day with homeroom. It's around 8 minutes long. It's a time for announcements. We are incorporating our new Wayfinder curriculum, and some of those lessons do take a little bit longer. So we are looking at ways to either expand some time for that or break it up a little bit differently to make sure that we are going through that curriculum, because the students are actually liking this new curriculum and the teachers. So finding ways to follow that curriculum or lessons that teachers want to add. We also do some of our spirit stuff through our student government classes. They count Spirit Day points in there, come out and hand out swag and things like that. So it's a fun time as well to connect and really get to know your students. It is attached to our first period class. So your first period class, whatever it is, PE, language arts, math, that is your homeroom, and that is where we do the SELN currently.
At Sandpiper, homeroom is the first 15 minutes of every day. That's a really important time for students to build community with the students in their homeroom class and with their homeroom teacher. They have the same homeroom teacher every day of the week. So things like morning meeting connections happen in that classroom. We also have SEL content that is delivered sometimes partly through homeroom. Additional SEL content with Wayfinder happens during their elective period as well. You may know, if you have younger students or other students here at Belmont-Redwood Shores, that we do serve universal breakfast. So students are able to eat breakfast in the classrooms every morning during homeroom. We also have a weekly assembly on Wednesdays during our minimum day, and that's when we do content related to positive behavior interventions and support, student announcements, spirit days, theme days, celebrations, cultural celebrations, all that really fun stuff, all the kind of stuff that makes students want to come to school.
So it's really important that we share a little bit about the unique bell schedules at each school, really making sure that the minutes of our day meet all of the academic requirements, but also all of those fun things that make middle school a memorable experience. Nesbit has had a bit of a shift this year in our bell schedule, and we feel really happy with the great opportunity that we've been able to craft out here. So Nesbit's bell schedule runs from 8:25 to 3 o'clock on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday is our minimum day schedule, and all students are dismissed at 12:20 on Wednesdays. And you see here that we have a 7-period day with a rotating day-to-day schedule. So each day of the week, students go through a cycle of their core courses. And we have a variety of core courses that fit our International Baccalaureate program. So students are taking 2 courses of language and literature, and that is a reading and a writing course. They take an individuals and societies course, mathematics, science. They have a language acquisition core course, which is Spanish. They have an elective and PE. So each day of the week looks a little bit different for each student, but they are transitioning and cohorting through really dynamic courses. And we feel that this schedule has helped us build a bit more variety, and we've really been loving it this year. And we know that your students will too.
At Ralston, all students have 7 classes, but they only have 6 per day. You'll see in purple there that rotating 7th period that replaces a period each day. It does look a little crazy, but the students do get used to it and know where to go. Our classes are 54 minutes, and like comprehensive middle schools, they change classes every period, which means that there are probably thousands of permutations of schedules that students can have. So some students might have math first period, while others could have PE or an elective. So a lot of different combinations there. In 6th grade, it is a little different. They have 2 periods of language arts. So one's called literature, one's called composition, so reading and writing. And then it goes down to 1 period in 7th and 8th grade. In sixth grade, they have one elective, and then because of one less language arts class in seventh and eighth grade, they get 2 periods of electives. Again, those can be at any point in their day. A little bit different than the other 2 schools with breakfast because of our changing model of kids moving and having PE or a science lab first period. Our breakfast is served during snack time with the exception of Wednesday, it's before school. And then lunch is served at lunch, and on the minimum day, Wednesday, it's served during snack time.
You can advance a slide. All right, as I mentioned, Sandpiper does have a double block schedule, so it can be a little bit challenging to try and picture. I'll do my best to explain it. So our blocks are an hour and 50 minutes long. That means that students have all the core classes, ELA, math, science, history, and PE and elective. Wednesday is our minimum day, so it's a little bit different on Wednesdays. But if you look here, you see a sample schedule for a student. And in that middle column, that's Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Student will have homeroom for the first 15 minutes of the day. Their next class would be either ELA on a Monday, Thursday, and math on a Tuesday, Friday, for example. Then they have a little bit of a break. Their next period, they would either have history on 2 days a week or science on the other 2 days a week. And then elective and PE are paired together in this sample in that last period. Wednesday, we do again have homeroom for that first 15 minutes. Then we have a nice block for Genius Hour. That is that time for students to explore a passion project and get some instruction and some support from the teachers in project management, but the students are really driving their curriculum at that point. And then we have the learning lab time, which is an opportunity for students to meet individually with teachers, to check in on their assignments, to get coaching and feedback on anything that they might have questions about or might be struggling with. You see here that our break is about 10 minutes long, and you may be aware of a new law that requires a minimum number of minutes for recess for lunch and break. So we will be changing our schedule just slightly next year to accommodate that and to support the students who are advocating for a little bit longer at recess time. You can go on to the next slide.
So elective and enrichments are what make middle school fun. And each of us at our programs have really focused on giving our kids a variety of opportunities that connect them together and have them build lasting memories. So we'll love to share a little bit about those with you. Next slide, please. So electives at each of our site, we have worked really hard with our teams to develop some really important electives and opportunities for kids that get them thinking and growing in different ways, that help them engage in things like art and social media and graphics and finance and languages, and really help them to find out what they're passionate about. And each of us offers a variety of choices for students. Electives are always based on staffing and credentialing. Sometimes they change every year, but we like to make sure that we're always offering a variety, and each of us does a really great job doing that. Next slide, Jerome. So we wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the differences in music and art in particular. So at Nesbitt School, we do offer band and strings weekly during 7th period. It is an opt-in opportunity for students. And then art as well. We offer monthly art lessons provided by LEAP. It's an organization that we are fortunate to have a district contract with in support of your donations through School Force. So that also really supports our middle school. So thank you, parents, for helping us with that. Nesbitt also offers a fine arts elective, and part of our international baccalaureate requirement is that students need to participate in 50 hours per year of design and art. So the arts are really a content area that's embedded into our program through our elective offerings, but also in our core content areas.
At Ralston, the music program works a little differently. We have it as a part of our elective program, which means all 3 grades are able to participate. We do have band, orchestra, and choir, which are year-long electives. And there's 3 different levels to each of those programs. We do have 2 music teachers on staff, and for 6th graders, the music or band or choir, orchestra, or band would replace the wheel if they're choosing this elective. For art, the art program for 6th graders is a part of the wheel, and so it is an option. They can take it for a quarter. And then if they really like that from their 6th grade experience, they may choose it again in 7th and 8th grade, where they would do bigger projects, more long-term things.
At Sandpiper, we're a little similar to Nesbit. We do have an opt-in music program before school. This year that's held on Tuesdays. That may be a different day next year. And that offers string instruments and band instruments weekly before school. Our art is also monthly lessons provided by Leap Art, and we have several arts electives like 3D arts, graphic arts, painting, textile arts. And we have intercession art options where students get to explore a range of subjects or range of media. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into some site-specific information.
Something else we really want to celebrate is Sabrina, Gloria, and I have been really working closely in building up some real sportsmanship and rallying around our middle school sports. On Thursday, Nesbit's basketball team will be advancing to the finals. We are really excited about that. Thank you. Go Pumas. And there's been a lot to celebrate this year. We are really fortunate at Nesbit to team up with Sandpiper so that we can offer a joint flag football and cross country team. And at Nesbit, we also offer basketball and volleyball.
At Ralston, our after-school sports includes basketball, volleyball, cross country, track and field, golf, tennis, and soccer.
Sandpiper, you could see there the list of sports that we offer. I do think it's important to say for all of our schools that the sports offered sometimes change based on the availability of coaches and the interest of the students. And we are a very collaborative district. We are happy to have students try out for any team at another school if it's not offered at their school. So your students will have plenty of athletic opportunities in their middle school years.
Same thing for clubs and activities. Just like we mentioned how we like to offer a variety of electives, we also offer a lot of clubs and activities so that students are connecting outside of their classrooms also. Lots of things happening after school, during lunchtime, during the school day, just lots of opportunities to make sure that kids are connecting and engaging in a passionate way. Clubs change from year to year, depending on staffing and depending on different offerings. And even though there's a ton of things listed there, really our clubs and activities are driven by our students. If there was ever like a student group that wanted to organize a different type of club or an activity, they would just come to an administrator and an advisor, and we make sure those clubs and activities are established for our kids.
The schools, there's a lot of different supports for our students. We have students with varying needs. Some have IEPs, some have 504s, some need counseling, some just need help with that transition to middle school life and middle school academic expectations with all the different subjects and having more than one teacher. So we all offer a lot of different supports for our students. Next slide, please. As you can see, we offer a multi-tiered system of support. So a lot of different levels, what they call tier 1, which is more universal, tier 2, which is more specialized, and tier 3. And we try to strive for this for all of our general education students, as well as our students with our 504 plans and IEPs. I just wanted to mention that for our students with IEPs, there will be a specific transition meeting scheduled with the elementary school team and the receiving team, whether it's at the same site or transitioning, and that will take place coming this spring. And then for 504s, Sometimes we hold transition meetings, but sometimes we wait until the students get to middle school because they need different supports due to a different model. So we work that out between the administrators and sites. We're going to go into a little bit more of the specifics by school.
So something important to note about Nesbit is that we use a learning center model, and that is facilitated by an education specialist and a paraeducator team. We do a push-in model, so our special education team pushes into the general education classroom so that students are serviced within the general education environment, making it really collaborative. We also do pull-out services where students are offered directed studies and study skills classes based on their IEP goals. So they're getting that targeted instruction, but also they're getting that push-in support in the general education classroom so that they're really working on putting those goals into application. We do co-teaching so that that educational specialist is teaching side by side with the classroom teacher. And then we make sure that we're also providing reading and language support pullout services. So our students requiring reading intervention or multilingual support will get that through a pullout service throughout their school day. And then we also offer counseling support.
At Ralston, we have a bit of a different model, RSP, using a resource specialist program. And what that really means is that a special ed class, for example, is equivalent to a gen ed class in that, for example, if a student has regular math, another student with an IEP might have a resource math class that same period. So instead of getting pulled out of a class, it is an equivalent class. So in 6th grade, we offer RSP math. We offer RSP ELA, which is 2 periods in 6th grade because of the reading and writing requirement. And then we have a directed studies class, which is an academic support class for IEP students and 504 students. In 7th and 8th grade, we also have those math and ELA classes, but we also have something a little bit different for language arts, which is co-taught. It's more similar to the high school model where there's a general education teacher in the classroom. So it's a regular class, but there's also an ed specialist, an RSP teacher in the room as well to support all students, but the students with IEPs as well. Study skills is the equivalent of directed studies, but it is our general education class where students can get help with academic support. And then as part of our elective program, we do have ELA and math support classes and ELD classes to support the various needs of our students. And as mentioned before, we have 3 counselors, so 1 per grade level that support with social emotional needs and academics.
For Sandpiper, again, very similar to Nesbit, as another TK through 8 school, we do offer reading, language, and counseling supports as a function of our general education program. So students who may have a particular need that's either a short-term need or maybe a less intense need can get those supports through our general education program. I mentioned our weekly alternative learning lab, our all-time, as an opportunity when students can get support from their classroom teacher on anything that they may have questions about or some guidance on keeping up with assignments or checking in on some work. That is also a time when students who have an IEP may be visiting the Learning Center to be receiving their individual services per their IEP. Our Learning Center is a push-in and pull-out service. We do have an ed specialist in that program, and he is supported by a paraeducator as well. And another thing that we have here at Sandpiper is our moderate to severe SDC setting for students with intense needs. This year, that is a 5th through 8th grade program. Depending on the needs of students, that fluctuates between 6th through 8th or 5th through 8th.
Hey team, can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Can we go back to the elective slide? I want to make sure our parents really understand the differences between what we offer. We gave an overview, but maybe we
Sure.
should clarify a little bit about what happens at each school when it comes to electives.
Certainly.
So
Good idea.
Jerome, make us a little dizzy and take us back, way back.
Right there.
Right there.
How about we go backwards and Sandpiper goes first?
Like you're thinking, Miss Higgins.
All right. At Sandpiper, all of our middle school students have 1 elective per trimester. So they'll have 3 electives for the entire year. In 6th and 7th grade, they take the same two electives in the first and second trimester. So in sixth grade, we have digital arts and cultural arts in the as the two different elective choices. If I were a sixth grade student, I might take digital arts in trimester 1 and then take cultural arts in trimester 2. If Miss Hanson Vera were a sixth grade student, she might have that opposite schedule, but everybody takes those two electives in the first two trimesters. Then in the third trimester, they have a choice, and this year their choices are 3D arts or culinary arts. That may change based on interest and staffing next year. Very similar structure for seventh grade, where they take the same two electives in the first two trimesters. Seventh grade this year, it's print journalism or speech and debate. And then in the third trimester, they have a broadcast journalism choice or a Renaissance and design choice. Eighth grade is where they get choices all three trimesters. So they would either take marine biology or textile arts, web design or Japanese culture, or graphic arts in the third trimester, or painting in the third trimester. And again, we have those intercessions, which we do twice a year during conference week, so that students get to explore 6 or 7 additional topics for a week twice during our school year.
At Ralston, let's talk a little bit about sixth grade first. Some of you are probably wondering what Wheel is. Wheel is an opportunity to try out some different electives. So sixth graders that choose Wheel will get to experience a mini version of 4 different of our electives that they might be able to take in 7th or 8th grade. They do not get to choose which Wheel class they are in. They stay actually grouped and move as a rotation 4 times throughout the year. But a lot of different offerings like art, animation, coding. This year we added journalism to our Wheel, fun with French, strategy, which is a board game and strategy class. So offerings vary a little bit each year depending on our staff. Our students can take Wheel, they can take band, they can take orchestra or choir, or an academic support class like math support, directed studies, study skills, English support. So there's a variety of different options. And we'll go through that more for those that end up coming to Ralston in our information night when it comes time to select those things. For 7th and 8th grade, the way it works is they will enter their top 4 preferences into Aries, our student information system, and let the computer generally work its magic with creating a schedule. But they have 2 elective periods instead of 1. So it could be a combination of semester or year-long options. Some students, for example, will take Spanish and band. Those are both year-long electives. So those would be their electives. Versus a student might take a semester of art, a semester of culinary arts. That's just 1 period because there's 2 that match there. And then it could be a year-long, or it could be 2 semester ones. So generally a lot of different options. We do have a number of staff that are single subject credentials, as we call them. So their specialty is an elective. That's all they teach all day: band, choir, animation, culinary arts. So a lot of different choices. And for student government, which is our leadership program and yearbook, you have to apply based on your grades and recommendations from teachers.
And at Nesbit School, all students take 1 elective per trimester. For trimester 1, all students are assigned an IB 101 course. This is really a get acquainted to middle school course, get acquainted to our middle years program, understanding what it is to be an international baccalaureate school. They engage in a variety of kind of entry-level projects. One of those projects was to design carnival games for elementary school students and to go through the design thinking process to get them understanding that sometimes we learn deliverables for the service of others. Then our elective kind of options to choose from are leadership, graphic design, social media literacy, fine arts, and financial literacy. And again, these electives change based on our teachers' passions and their iterations that they like to share with students throughout the years. This is what we will be offering for next school year. And then just as a reminder, our International Baccalaureate requirement is that our students also need to participate in 50 hours each year, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, of design and the arts. So we intentionally weave all of those types of requirements not only into our elective offerings, but into our content area courses. And back to our regularly scheduled presentation.
You crack me up.
And just as that reminder, all of you should have received a link that is your child's unique link, because you are making a really informed choice. And there's not a right or wrong choice. There's only the right choice for your family and for your kid. And so our purpose in sending it early was to make sure that everyone got that link. And if you did not, Mrs. Adler will share with you where you can find it and how we can help you. But we wanted to give you a preview of each of our sites, let you get some FaceTime with us this evening, learn a little bit more about each of our sites so that you can sit down with your child, can talk to them about your hopes and dreams for them as they move on to middle school, what you hope for them in their future, and then also hear from them what are some important things that they want to experience as a 6th, 7th, and 8th grader so that you're making a great choice for your child. And with that, I just want to share a little bit more about Nesbit so you learn more about us. Next slide. So I think something that I'd like you to make sure that you know about Nesbit School is that we really believe on this mural that is right on the ball wall as you enter our school, that this is a place where everyone belongs, and we really believe that love lives at our school. We are super fortunate to have a middle school team. It is a team of 8 of the mightiest people you will ever meet. There are 2 core teachers per grade level, a Spanish teacher, a science teacher, and our ed specialist that make up our team. And they are wonderful, excited, friendly, cooperative people that really love working with middle school students. And that's the one thing I want you to leave here knowing about Nesbit tonight, is that students come first in our book. Next slide. There are 3 main stars that I want you to know about Nesbit. Personalization is what we are known for. We have an amazing ability to diversify our instruction. Our teachers modify, and we are wonderful at our flexible groupings. It is something that we prioritize, meeting students where they are at and helping them thrive. Something else that we really work for is our empowerment and our support of our students, and that we're inspiring them. We want to make sure that the values of our school, to be respectful, responsible, safe, and inclusive, are not just words that they repeat over and over again, but things that they can take out with them, remember, take out into the community. And we really believe in focusing on building and instilling in them social competencies and that connection so that they can thrive and grow into wonderful people. And then lastly, we have a student-centered learning framework. So our middle school teachers engage and monitor and adjust for our students, not only so that they achieve academically, but because we want them connected to their content, and most importantly, we want them connected to their teacher. Next slide. And we have taken on a really big journey. We are very proud to be the first middle school in our area to have achieved International Baccalaureate candidacy status. This is a really big achievement. We will be validated in March. And to be an International Baccalaureate school is really developing and focusing on how we can build a content-rich, rigorous program while giving students the ability to apply that content. We want them to be solutionary. We want them to apply their thinking so that they're able to solve those big problems and all those little small problems. We want them to learn by doing, and we want them connecting the classroom to the larger world. We have established a learner profile, and this is a set of attributes that in every single content area, we want our students to be mastering. We want them to be risk takers. We want them to consider various viewpoints, and we want them to be well-rounded thinkers. We want them asking questions. We want them challenging the status quo, and we want them to gather as much knowledge and information as possible so that they can go off and change our world. And then in order to get all those achievements and attributes from the learner profile, we need to change our approach to learning. So for us, everything that we do at Nesbit is understanding that we're part of the social world. So collaboration is really big for us. Our students are researching, they're collecting data, they're taking that data, they're using that information, and they're evaluating ranges of sources so that they're taking their thinking and applying it. And we want them to express their learning, not only just by getting A's and getting great grades and mastering their content, but taking what they're learned and presenting it to a public audience. We feel that that's very important, and that's going to be a big part of our program. And then lastly, it's that self-management piece. We want them looking ahead. We want them to understand how to navigate the school system. We want them to learn enough about themselves so that they know how to manage themselves, and that they're able to accomplish hard things, and that they're able to conquer that through middle school and beyond. And that is a bit about what we stand for at Nesbitt with our middle school program, and a little preview about what your child would receive as an International Baccalaureate student.
Ryan, can you see how many students you have at your school, and Gloria, when you get to your slides?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Can you remind us, everyone in the audience, how many students you have at your school? That was a question.
Sure. Our goal at Nesbitt is to always maintain cohorts of 50 students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So each cohort having 50. Right now, we average between 37 and 47 students per grade level.
Ralston, go Rams. I'm going to have Kelly and Patrick jump in on this one as well. A reminder, we have this year 1,136 students and about 80 staff members, including our custodial staff, our paras, and all of our other staff, about 55 teachers. We average about 375 per grade level. Class sizes are still going to be similar to the other schools, somewhere around 26, 27, 28, but could go as large as 32. It is what my colleague calls a mini city. It is very busy, a lot of hustle and bustle, fast movement. Kelly, Patrick, and I are the geeks that are walking around in our neon yellow vests all day long so that students can always find us and staff. So never miss that. A lot of just really fun stuff. We think that middle school is a time that should be really fun. It's stressful for a lot of students. It's a big transition, especially to a big comprehensive middle school, and learning to have 7 different teachers and changing classes while managing emotions that are changing, exploring our identities, and a lot of different things. So we try to make it as fun as possible with lunchtime competitions, dances, field trips, a lot of different programs to make the students feel excited and supported about middle school, which sometimes is a really tough time for them. Go ahead and jump in, Kelly.
So part of what we do at Ralston is we have teamed up with the Marine Science Institute, and you can see that picture in the lower left. And what our students do in 6th grade is they're learning about their watershed, which is right in our backyard at Water Dog Lake. We use that as an area that we meet with the Marine Science Institute. And our students are doing water quality testing to learn about what human impact is doing on our environment. And then another part of that journey is going and taking a canoe trip out at MSI, where kids are learning how to canoe together, work as a team, communicate. And they're also doing the water quality testing there as well. We're collecting data, we're analyzing data between these 2 areas, and it's a really cool program. And it's another thing just to get outside of the classroom and be able to discover what's going on within our own community.
Can we go to the next slide? One thing I really love about Ralston is our elective program. There's so many different choices for students to make. There's always new things for them to learn. There's so many students who leave this place with a skill they never thought they would have because of our elective program. Some of our teachers, I can think of Steve Pomeroy, who teaches our animation program, will get emails years later from students who entered that field because they first were introduced to it at Ralston, and I think that's such an amazing thing. We, of course, being a large school, we have opportunities to meet lots of new people, make new friends. There's lots of different social activities, student government hosts socials, dances, all sorts of things that really allow students to get to know each other and have some fun outside of the academic setting. We do have a lunch period where students get to mix and match from different grades as well, and make new friendships during that time. Our math pathways include a variety of options from Common Core Math 6 to geometry. And you can see our diagram here that lays out various pathways which allow students to reach whichever math area is appropriate for them.
I just wanted to add, we put this on there because there's always a lot of questions about Ralston math, and there is a whole placement process for math at all the schools. And I know some of you will be new to the district, so if you are not currently part of the district, we will make sure that those math assessments happen either in June or August, depending on how things are going. So we will make sure that students are properly placed. We don't have a cap on how many students can be in a math class. We do what we need to do based on the numbers. And I'd say one of the things that we're proud of at Ralston over the last 3 years is we do have a growth mindset. I know sometimes students and families are disappointed when their student isn't placed into the 6AS class to start, but we're watching the students. We're looking at their assessments that first semester, even before then, and how they're doing in class. And we will shift kids if we need to. So we've moved students quite a bit this year. Even in 8th grade, we had students that started the year in 8CC and they moved to algebra. I did see a question about 7th graders in algebra. They are mixed classes, so it's a 7/8 combo for algebra. Typically in algebra for 7th grade, there's about 45 students. I've been sharing the data every year that I've been here so far, and which means there's about 45 students in their 8th grade year that take geometry. So again, there'll be more information, especially in district, about the placement process and criteria. And please just trust the process. We've been keeping statistics, and our teachers really are looking out for the best interests of the students. And I oversee the math department. I'm formerly a middle school math teacher. They will come to me like this if they think that a student needs to be moved, and we really do discuss that and work with families.
All right, I get the distinct pleasure of sharing Sandpiper's program with you. And what I really love about this slide is you can see our students as empowered agents of their own learning. Just to give an example, that Stingray logo there was designed by one of our students and then actually implemented and painted on our ball wall through our Genius Hour program. So our students really do take a project from start to finish. They learn all kinds of skills. She was using some drafting programming and had to think about scaling and how to make sure that the paint would stay and not peel off. So really a tremendous deep learning experience that happens at Sandpiper. You can go on to the next slide. It is our purpose at Sandpiper. All of our staff are invested in empowering an inclusive community of critical thinkers who can contribute to an ever-changing world. And we have a few signature practices here, signature programs that we use at Sandpiper to make sure that our students are really digging deep into their own learning and into making the world a better place. Design thinking is one of those programs. We really define that as problem solving, grounded in empathy with a bias towards action. So we want students to truly understand a problem inside and out, empathizing with the people who will be using the solutions that they design, so that we're really making sure to solve the problem that the people are really having and not just the problem that we think they're having. And we want them to be willing to take action and try it out. And if it fails, it fails, but we learn from that as we go forward so that we're constantly iterating and improving on our work. As I mentioned, Genius Hour is a big part of our program. That was the recipient of a Kent Award through the County School Boards Association in 2022. Those are our students' words underneath that Genius Hour heading. They define it as an opportunity for self-manifested sense of purpose. I don't think you can get any better than that. And I've talked a little bit about intercession in some previous slides. Again, the recipient of a Kent Award in 2023. Those are just some of the intercession sessions that have been offered in the past. Those do change every year based on student interest and based on staffing experience, but you can see there a few of the other sessions that have been offered. Kinesiology was offered by our credentialed PE teacher. Forensics was a big popular one. I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of those police procedural television series. Graphic novels, financial literacy, cooking, so many ways for students to explore. You can go on to the next slide. One of the things that's truly special about Sandpiper is our TK through 8th grade environment. I know some families tend to worry about what does it look like when my 8th grader is on the same campus as a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old, right? But it does provide a very strong academic culture, a very strong community where there's continuity of parent involvement all the way through middle school, and opportunity for students to be leaders. Just today, one of our 7th grade teachers was sharing about how her class went to visit their kindergarten buddies. And the 7th graders didn't want to leave. They enjoy it so much. The benefit is clear for the kindergartners, but the 7th graders benefit just as much as well. And then finally, we do have a very strong emphasis on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging at Sandpiper. We really cannot overstate the importance of a sense of belonging. It has long-term health benefits, mental wellness benefits, academic benefits, future earning potential benefits. There's just almost nothing that isn't impacted for the better by a strong sense of belonging. So we really strive to have an inclusive environment. We want to welcome all of our students, your students. We value them all, and we want to develop them. We work hard to develop them as culturally proficient advocates for others in their community and for the world. And that's Sandpiper, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future. You can go on.
All right, the next steps. Well, some of you I know already did complete the forms, but that's okay. Don't worry. We have plenty of time to do that. So if you are new to BRSSD, please make sure that you're following the student enrollment process. We will be sharing these slides out and putting them on the website. And whether you apply today in the first enrollment period or you apply the last day in the first enrollment period, it's all equal. So I just want to assure everyone of that. It's by the enrollment period. So please don't stress about that. Just make sure you're meeting timelines. For our current students, you should have already received a digital link to give your preferences for the 3 different schools. Again, if you haven't completed it yet, not a problem. I would recommend if you haven't seen it that you check your junk mail. Sometimes those things go there, but if you really can't find it anywhere, please reach out to your school office. We all have lists of every person's unique link. So we will definitely send that to you. Or if you need help and technology is not your strength and you need help with paper, we'll help you with that or get the form done with you online at the school. So please just reach out. We are going to have a specific information night on April 25th. So all 3 schools are going to do their informational nights that night at different times. We'll send out more information. You should get your school that you're assigned to a couple weeks prior to that, hopefully beginning of April or so. And so at that point, you'll know which school you're in and be able to ask more specific questions on those informational nights. Orientation programs to help transition the students and welcome them to middle school will be in August. We do not have the school year calendar yet for next year, but as soon as we do, we'll get those orientation dates out. Typically, they're a couple days before school starts, that Monday or Tuesday. Ralston always does theirs the Thursday before, so we'll get those very soon. But please don't stress. If you are new, I also saw the question about when do you get to rank your choices as well. You will get that opportunity as well. We focus on our in-district first with the choices, and then you'll get your chance to rank, and we will see what the numbers look like. We do our best to try to accommodate folks' first choice, but we've got to look at balance and numbers and make sure that we actually have spots in the classrooms for everyone. So more to come on that as we see what people are choosing. Otherwise, we're really excited that you took the time to join us tonight. Again, lots of great choices for everyone. So please really think about your individual student and not just necessarily what your friends are doing. And if you are currently in BRSSD, again, you'll get some more information about math placement. I saw that question. And again, if you're out of district, please don't stress. We will make sure that your students are assessed as well. We get the lists of students who are joining, and then we reach out to families to make sure that everyone is taken care of. So thank you again. We are going to be capturing all the Q&A pieces and put out an FAQ for you as well to answer those questions and make sure that you know everything you want to know. And I'm going to turn it over to Ching Pei to close.
Yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. I know you have several questions that are very specific. A couple things I just want you to make sure of. Yes, you can change your choice if you already submitted the form and felt like, you know what? I thought I wanted something, and now that I've heard from the 3 principals, I've changed my mind. You can go ahead and resubmit. Your link will work to allow you to do that. Every child does need to have a link submitted. So we have the due date that's out there. Please do your best to meet that deadline, because what happens at the deadline is we look through and see who hasn't responded, and we reach out to you individually. The longer it takes for us to get 100% participation from our returning 6th graders, the longer it takes for us to actually make the assignments. Because as Mrs. Adler was saying, we do prioritize making sure our current 5th graders are placed as best as we can to their first choice. That requires that we all work together and turn in the forms on time so we can respond in a timely manner to you and give you the information you need. So you're ready to go to your school site orientation. We're really excited to have you join us for 6th grade. This is always a perfect timing. The math placement email will go out tomorrow or Friday, just to give you a heads up, just so you have all of the different pieces of information. But for now, I want to say thanks for joining us. It's almost 7 o'clock. Our teachers, our principals have had a very long day, so I want to sign off with them and say thank you for being fabulous BRSSD principals. Thank you, community, for joining. And again, we will make sure all of your questions are captured, and we will push out an FAQ along with the recording and the slides. Thanks so much. Good night.
Good night,
Bye. Have a good
everyone.
night.
Good night,
Thanks for joining
everybody.
us.